Hey everybody, this is Joe. Thank you for watching my Giga Texas construction update video. For today, I want to talk about a new land status determination that has been made by the City of Austin for the north part of Giga Texas's property. And this continues a discussion that we've been having on this channel. The 25th of November 2022 was when I first discussed this, the 18th of June 2023, and then the 2nd of August 2023 for some updates. So let's talk about what this land determination status is all about and what this means for Giga Texas. Fortunately, along with this land status determination document with the City of Austin, they also included a map showing the specific areas that they were looking at for this land status determination. And here it is. To give you some better context, here's the overall map of the property for Giga Texas. You can see where the factory is located now and all of the familiar areas that we've been watching a lot of the construction. And this inset map gives you that idea of where that particular location is that they completed this survey. Now, as we've discussed previously on several different videos, this entire area has been permitted for the north inbound logistics lot and also warehouse. And these documents here and this overall image gives you a pretty good idea of where this particular location is for this development. And I've overlaid this on blue over that inset map to give you an idea of where exactly this is located and how it relates to this land area that was surveyed recently. We've also discussed the importance of this old farmhouse and its location relative to the area that the land status determination was done, and also the permit for the North Logistics lot. We know that this old farmhouse is going to be used as a security outpost, and it will serve during the construction during this entire side. We also talked previously about this new permit for a road to be constructed through this particular area. The inset map on the right gives you an idea of what that road will look like and how it will connect the housing complex on the east side through this area over to State Highway 130 on the west. Now that we have that context, let's take a look back at this document that talks about the purpose of this land status determination. What it's really doing is it's determining if utility service is suitable for this area. That would be electricity, water, sewage, and so forth. And after looking at 316 acres, or about 127 hectares, they've determined that this is eligible for utility service. However, the cost of water, wastewater, and other services are the landowner's responsibility and at their expense, and they need to be accomplished using the criteria for design by the City of Austin. And also, in addition to this, we've also seen, as you can see here, that they did soil test sampling already. So I think that the final site plan documents and plans for construction are very close to being completed now, and this land status determination is the final step in that process. So we may start seeing construction in this area in the next few months. So as I mentioned, this is continuing a discussion that we've had for nearly a year, and we've been documenting how they have been progressing towards the planning and future construction in this part of the site and what it is going to be for. I hope that you found this information helpful and puts into context more about what we are seeing on the site. So without further ado, let's get into the drone, let's fly around the site and see how Giga Texas looks today. If you would like to support my efforts, please consider using these links, which will be in the video description. If you are interested in Tesla products, you can help yourself and support me by using my referral code. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons on my YouTube video, as this helps as well. Thank you. My drones are ready and raring to go. Let's go flying over Giga Texas. Good morning from the southeast side. As you can tell on the construction site for the multi-level garage, there are GeoPiers, and we'll come in for a closer look a little later in the video. But first I want to start on this southeast side. You can get a good sense of the amount of activity that is going on here. Some more deliveries of those large tanks kind of in the middle of the screen, and work on the stamping 2 extension. Also, there's more prep work going on the south end, just north of the Cyber Pond, and a good view here of some of the work that's going on in the median of River Road on the left-hand side of the screen. Moving up towards the north, we can get a good sense of some of the activity here on the east side of stamping. Again, those 4 large tanks that have been delivered, some of the other equipment and other items. And on the ground here, this is the extension of the River Road on the east side heading towards the north. You can see how all of this has been excavated out. They have that trench for some electrical conduit, and it's near the point where we'll start seeing some rebar being placed and forms so they can complete the connection to that road. As we fly up over the power lines and the roof section of stamping, I wanted to give you a good view from this perspective of the Stamping 2 extension. Some of the materials here at the bottom of the screen waiting for installation. You can see some of the white wrapped items. Those are the insulation panels, and then we have the weatherproof membrane and rolls. Looks like crews are preparing that decking material for that roofing material to be installed probably this weekend or early next week. Here's a good view of the face of the south end of the Stamping 2, where about half of it has those yellow wall panels, more of the insulation and the interior panels as well. As I turn the drone back towards the east and we fly along the side of the building where all the windows have been removed, it's a good closer in view to not only these 4 tanks, but also some of these white platform items. Since they're all grouped together, I would expect to see that this is part of the installation, all of these materials together with those tanks. As I pan around the new road and that intersection, we can also see some of that steel and gray on the left-hand side of the screen, and also the rebar cages for the footings. And with what we're going to see with the continuous flight auger drilling going on, we might be able to see some of the footing construction here soon, since most of the pier drilling is completed. Now here on the south end, just north of the Cyber Pond, we can see work continuing to prepare this graded location. Where that one worker is walking out, looks like there's some sort of manifold system, and this is right above where there's steel corrugated pipe under that area for the water management system. On River Road here in the median, this is a good close-in view. It looks like 2 of these Hydromax trucks are doing some sort of, I don't know, maybe pulling out some water in an underground system here, and just doing some additional work along this entire length of the road. One of the reasons why I'm coming up here close to the bridge is I wanted to show you this pole with the guy wires that are coming down next to this pit with that eroded section. There's some of the steel corrugated pipe for the underground water management system right in that location. It looks like it needs to be repaired, and as we mentioned in my previous video, this may be that permit asking for assistance from Austin Energy with those guy wires. This is a good view of the south end from this perspective. A few things I want to show you on the left in this clearing. You can see there's probably about a half a dozen or so of those cylindrical rebar cages that are used for the CFA piers. There's also about another dozen or maybe 20 of these piers, rebar cages remaining where all these workers are. There's enough rebar to make several more. So these are what remains to go into the piers that have to be drilled by the CFA cranes that you see coming up in front of us. The one on the left is to position the cylindrical cages into the bore. The other one near the building, and this is one of the first times that we've seen it recently on the southwest corner, is drilling more of the piers near the building. We can also see next to these cylindrical concrete segments and some other materials, and right next to this underground vault, we can see, looks like there's been some excavation work going on very close to this area. Now this is where there's underground manifolds for the concrete portion of the pipes for the underground water management system. So it's possibly related to the drilling that is going on in that nearby area. As we get closer to the platform here, Good view inside. A lot of cleanup is actually going on just inside. Also, new equipment being picked up and brought up onto the platform. Another one down on the accordion truck. I'll zoom in so you can take a look at it, but I think this is still marked CT Zone X. That would be Cybertruck Zone X, and this looks like it's a yellow item. It might be a robotic assembler. It's hard to tell with all the wrapping on it, but some of the last of those robotic assembly machines are being moved into that third floor, and we saw that it's being cleaned out as well, which gives an idea that it's getting much more organized inside. Next to all of these latrines, we can see on the bottom left a cement truck, and it's putting that concrete into that bucket. That's going to be moved inside somewhere, so continued need for concrete is on the inside here where they're doing the general assembly lines 2 and 3 in addition to production. This is the remaining items that need to be moved inside and installed as part of those assembly lines. And then this entire section has been cleaned out, temporary fences, so I would expect to see some equipment or maybe materials in that area as well. Quick view of the west main entrance and how it looks, and also I wanted to get a good view of the temporary end of line. This is where the vehicles would exit on that ramp. There's actually not a lot of work going on here today. And we'll see on the east side that although there's a lot of Model Ys, I think production is at a slower pace today since it's a Friday, and maybe gearing up for a big push next week. The horizontal drilling machine exit point here on this side of the road looks like it's still got some water in it. And then as we cross the road and take a look at the other end, this is where some more of the drilling is being prepared and being done underneath that road. Now the interesting thing is this black HDPE pipe with the kind of a plug on the left hand side, and then the entire length will eventually be pulled through there. But I've had several viewers think that the bore is not large enough for this yet, so we are going to most likely see additional horizontal drilling underneath the road to accommodate that large pipe. On the outbound lot, you can see more of the excavation work down the middle, more of the concrete items and pipe segments. But I wanted to return to the building because I wanted to show you the work on the roof. More of the roof decking is now being installed. You can actually see that underway right now. But in addition, they've got that blue liner and then some of the insulation material that goes right between the blue liner and the decking material. And you can get a good sense of how much of the roof for this building has been started already. So it's probably a good quarter of the length of the building. On this end, as we pass over the concrete that's already been cured and cross-cut, we can also see those depressions in the concrete slab. There's 3 more, very similar. I've had viewers say that they think that those are drains, and that very much well be the case. There's also that yellow moisture barrier getting ready for rebar. More of the geotextile membranes, that black mesh material underneath the dirt, has been laid out here. The grade work is continuing to progress towards the south to connect into the warehouse on wheels, and also on the west side of the warehouse on wheels as well. All of this area will eventually be the new outbound lot, and that will be served by this end-of-line facility. Another good view of that yellow moisture barrier and the section that still is remaining for concrete. I expect that to be done sometime early next week. We do see a new crane here. I think this is being used to bring some of the materials up to the roof. You can see the long decking on the ground, and then some of it has already been moved up to that roof. And this is just getting it all pre-positioned to help expedite and accelerate the work putting on the roof materials. So let's get ready to cross over the highway, and we'll resume the narration on the other side. Directly ahead, we see this accordion truck bringing some more items. I'm not going to zoom in, but I did get a good look at this. This is just more of the conveyor system. You can see the roller systems on those white items, and this is just continuing more of a conveyor system that has been installed in this section of the building. And I think more of the materials just pass underneath the drone as well. As we continue to proceed towards the northwest corner, there's some more items that have been delivered, put on the ground. We can see some more trucks bringing in some items as well. But the biggest news is as I wrap around this northwest corner, we're going to see a temporary fence has been erected, and a lot of these gray steel items have been moved and temporarily stored here. In addition to this, as I was flying, I was standing pretty close to this area. I could hear quite a bit of construction going on inside, some heavy banging sounds and other things that you would associate with pretty heavy construction. And it's all emanating from where these doors and the window area have been removed. We can also see some more of the steel studs on that truck ready to be moved inside. Another big change today is here on the north end of the paint shop. We see 11 different Model Y body in whites, and they all have different colors. And in addition to that, it appears to me that there are two colors of gray, a darker color and a lighter color, and possibly two colors of red. And then in this area here, it looks like there's another one of the lighter gray colors and a different color blue, and some of the other ones have just the undercoating or maybe some black. So it's very possible that they're doing some testing of colors, and we may see some new colors coming out of Giga Texas soon for the Model Ys. And also, some of them were 4680 variants, and then others were 2170 variants. So that's pretty interesting. On the roof, what I want to show you is these ducted fans on the right. There are some more ducted fans being lifted up by this crane, as you can see by this wall. And there's mounts for all of these already pre-positioned on the roof section. Now this is part of a ventilation system that's associated with the large furnaces that are being installed just under the roof in this area. Now the airflow needs to be enhanced, and I think that's why we're seeing the windows have been removed on this east side, and now with this close-up you can see grate material is being installed in lieu of those windows. And I think this, coupled with those ducted fans, is a pretty strong ventilation system to help cope with all of the heat that's going to be associated with the furnaces. And those furnaces are going to be used to recycle old aluminum and scrap aluminum and then use those again and more castings in the future for production. So pretty interesting, and I think that's another major change that was made after casting was originally designed. On the ground here we see more of the conduit work to connect up to the new electrical switch yard. And then in this section here, all of the concrete's been poured for that load levelers and the platform in front of each of these new receiving doors, and also work is continuing on that apron area to prepare for concrete. We see more of assembly line items have been delivered here on the ground. Some more excavation work here. The smaller pit may be a grease trap, and it would be associated with some permits that I have seen on the City of Austin sites for this area of the factory. The white stain continues to be applied, moving towards the north, as you can see on the exterior of the building. And then here is that closer look of the GeoPiers that are active now on this construction site for the multi-level parking garage. All those flags that you see are marking locations where the GeoPiers will be completed. And as I pull away, this gives you a pretty good sense of just how large of an area this is, and how we're going to be seeing several weeks of GeoPier work until all of those piers are installed. And that will be the step right before we start seeing some of the footings completed. On this side of the lot where the trees are, we can see what looks to be the preparation for a road that's going to go north to south along this side of the site. And then here, the underground manifold, all of the concrete pipes. Looks like, at least in this area, the work is done. All the gravel and the dirt has been filled in, and then the connection points are left open. We can see another one here going up to this storm water detention pond. The testing and calibration lot, as you can tell, is overflowing now with new Model Ys. I estimate the numbers to be over 400. It's hard to really tell, but if there are viewers out there that want to freeze this frame and count them all, that would be outstanding. Just let me know what you find in the comment section. We can also see the structure on the left is busy with checkouts for the new cars, and one is being looked at the rear right now. The test track is also active again, and quite a few of these Model Ys are being supercharged as you can tell. I did not see any Cybertrucks on the testing and calibration lot today. It looks like it's pretty much all of the Model Ys. And what I would expect to see is many of these start being moved to the outbound lot, and all of these trucks here being active sometime next week. There are 3 Cybertrucks. They're located in this part of the outbound lot. As you can tell, again, they all have car covers on them. This is about all I see when it comes to new Cybertrucks right now. It is possible that they are making more and they are being kept inside the building. They did that originally with the initial run of the Model Ys. So it's possible that any day now we'll just see a lot of Cybertrucks out on the outbound lot as well. But for now, this is what we are seeing, and I'll keep an eye out, and I'll let you know if I see more of the Cybertrucks starting to show up. So as we bring the drone back up, fly towards the northeast, I wanted to show you this section under construction on the left-hand side of the screen. This is more of that steel corrugated pipe for the underground water management system. This is going to run the length of the road on the left and connect into that manifold system that we talked about earlier. More of the employee vehicles in the overflow lot today, but not as many as we've seen in the last couple of days, and I'll show you more of that a little later. I did notice here that one of the windows is getting ready to be moved up and installed, and here's a good close-in view of how that looks. And they have these suction cups that basically attach to the windows, and then that crane lift will bring them up and they will install. This gives you a little bit of an idea of how this would work. But they were taking a little bit of time, and I didn't see any of the workers up at the window line at this point in time, so I didn't think that we were going to see the window moved up in the next few minutes. So we'll continue the drone flight along this west side of the die shop, more of that steel corrugated pipe being installed for the water management system along this edge. We also see the workshop here for some of the modification of the steel pipes. It looks pretty busy today. More of the standing water from the recent rains, and again the steel corrugated pipes here waiting for installation along the rest of this west side of the site. The lift station looks like there's a lot more activity going on with filling in some of the dirt around the concrete vaults and that cylindrical well. We also see that steel corrugated pipe being installed with the trench box heading off towards the east side across the north face of the cathode building, and a good look at the north end of the cathode building as well. On the east side, we do see quite a bit of activity as always, but over time we're seeing less and less of the materials and some of the containers, which is, I think, a positive sign when it comes to what's going on inside the cathode building. As I proceed towards the crash test lot, there's our facility. There's a couple of things I want to show you. These 2 vehicles, one of them the Cybertruck, the other one is the Model Y that had the crash testing, and we saw some of that happening on my previous video. It also looks like there's some sort of item in the bed of the Cybertruck underneath the car cover as well. I'm not sure why that Cybertruck is waiting on this end, but what we can tell on the north end of the open part of the building is that all the vehicles are moved out, at least what I can see. The rotisserie has had part of it removed and it's on the south end, and there are no Cybertrucks or any other vehicles on this north end right now. On the east side, this one lone Cybertruck with the car cover remains. Looks like there may be either damage or missing parts on the front of that Cybertruck underneath the cover. And then as I reposition to take a look inside the south end of the crash test facility, I'll zoom in and give you some good views. But first, you can see on the left-hand side is part of that rotisserie that I mentioned that has been moved to the south end. It looks like there's some work in and around where that crash wall is. It looks like it's also been cleaned up from the crash test that we saw on the previous video. And overall, it looks like maybe the initial testing for the facility is completed. As I bring the drone up, we'll fly over the south end of the battery cathode plant. We can see the pneumatic blenders are all installed inside that south end. And I'll bring the drone down to fly up towards the north in the alleyway to give you a good sense of the activity that is going on here. Now on the right-hand side is more of those nitrogen vaporizer systems and tanks. Also these large stainless steel tanks, and the work going on with the valves, pumps, heat exchangers on the roof section just to the south of those Evapco units. We also see the work going on here with this slab. Looks like it's getting pretty intricate as far as the amount of concrete and rebar work that is going on there. So my next video I'll get a closer look and see what they are building. I wanted to come back here briefly, just give you an idea of how the overflow lot looks today, and also the east parking lot. Now it looks to me that in addition to a slower Friday, and Fridays do tend to be a little bit slower, looks like they also are taking advantage of that to repave part of this, part of the parking lot. And looks like there's a lot of activity going on to get this ready for some additional work, and I'm kind of curious to see what they do. On the side next to the Tesla road, we can see how it looks like it's being widened and they're preparing another turn lane. And then here we see what looks to be a widening and expanding of Tesla road in this four-way intersection, and that would continue to go over towards the battery cathode plant complex of structures. Let's take a look now at the south end of the new electrical switchyard and see what kind of activity is going on. I'll zoom in, you get a good view of the control trailers, that underground vault, more of the wires on the spools on the left hand side, and generally how this side of the structure looks. Also, I've had a viewer who's knowledgeable on electricity tell me that it looks like the second of these two transformers still needs to have some wiring done before it can be connected to the building. So I'll be watching for that. As I come up over the power lines, I wanted to give you a different view of the north part of the Megapack site, where most of the electronic structure and the transformers are located, and also circuit breakers. And also I wanted to give you a good view of this new control trailer that we saw being installed on my previous video. Looks like most of the work is going on right now with this trailer and connecting conduit and wiring to those four boxes on the side of that structure. As I continue to turn back around towards the Megapack site itself, a couple of things just to watch. The perimeter fence is getting ready to be extended to the north. The poles for the lighting have all been completed, with the exception of one right in that middle section with that black truck. It also looks like the 68 Megapacks have had all the wiring now completed to the 34 transformers. It looks like there's just a few small cleanup items on the left 4 or 5, but for the most part that looks like it's been completed as well. So as we fly back towards the factory, I'm going to bring the drone up. I'm going to try to give you a good overall view of the entire site and just get a good idea of all of the places that we flew with the drone today, starting with that southwest side with the end of line facility, the south end with the CFA drilling, the parking garage and the GeoPier on the left, the east parking garage with the paving going on this one section, and also the outbound lot and the testing and calibration lot with all of the Model Ys. I hope that you enjoyed this video and what we discussed. I hope you have a great weekend, and as always, thank you very much for watching. Take care.